Hey guys, time of night when it's time to light a fire, and just thought we'd have a bit of a go with a fire drill set. So friction fire, and this is using Australian wood. I've seen quite a lot of videos and they're all American types of cedar and ash and all this sort of stuff. So this is black boy or Xanthorrhoea. You'll see that's just the flower spike from a black boy. So is this is just the bottom part of it. I've just split it in half and taken some of the back off to use as a baseboard, make it quite stable. That's just a piece of whatever that you use for a handhold on top. Baseboard, spindle, handhold, and anything you can use for a bow. As long as the bow itself isn't flexible, it needs to be nice and rigid, otherwise the string will start slipping on the spindle. Need a bit of a knife just to start making an indent. I'll show you that in a minute. And your Tinder Bundle. I actually found this in the guttering of my house the other day, so if you're scratching around for some Tinder Bundle, have a look in your gutters. In here is some smaller, some finer stuff as well. That's actually the top of the black boy stem, the little flowers. Obviously all old and dried out, but that should catch quite nicely. Let's give it a go. Get that out of the way. And your baseboard or half board, you just want to make a little bit of an indent just to get your spindle in there. And you see that the black boy or Xanthorrhoea is a very nice soft wood, and that's what you want. I'm going to experiment with some other types of timber a bit later on, maybe some pine, something that's soft as well, and obviously Australian wood. So you see the bottom of this is quite round and flat, and this is quite pointed, so you don't want too much friction in here, and you want the most amount of friction in here. Just to get this going, I will make it a bit pointier to get it bedded in, and that'll flatten out. Well, the tension on this line, about that, if it starts coming loose as you're bowing, you can just use your fingers like that, and that'll make it tight again. Twist it around. And you see, I've got my knee behind me, and my left arm is locked around my knee and my shin of my left foot. To start with, you're not actually attempting to make a fire, you're just making a divot in the baseboard, and you're also warming the spindle and the baseboard up. I don't know if you can see there, but there's already dust coming out. And pretty soon it'll start to smoke. So you can see it doesn't take long, it doesn't take a lot of effort. I can talk quite easily as I'm doing this. Nice long strokes with the bow. You can see that's flattened out now, and that end's just quite good. So you're not actually starting a fire yet, all you're doing is you're making a divot. So you can see that's quite hot. What you want to do now, and this is the trick, so the one trick that you need to
know is you've got to carve a little breathing space that goes into the, almost into the centre of this pilot hole. Because as you're bowing, you saw all that dust starting to come out. That dust needs to accumulate in this little gap that I'm making. And the big trick is you need to be able to build up enough of that dust that it starts to get compressed. So as that spindle's spinning around, it compresses the dust enough that it can then form a coal. So if your dust is just falling out of this little hole onto something and not actually touching the spindle, it won't compress. The other good thing about Black Boy, nice soft wood, you can cut through it quite easily. So you can see that hole's gone right the way through down to the bottom here. So as the dust will fall through, it'll build up here, right up into the centre and right up to where the spindle is turning, and that will start compressing to form a coal. And that's the trick, that's the key. If you just have the dust falling out onto say your leaf, it won't compress into that coal. So just something underneath to catch your dust in your coal. Let's have a look behind me. Bit of difference that makes. Now you're just taking your time and just building up the dust. You see it starting to fall out onto the leaf and smoking, but it's got to build up right up to the tip of that spindle and then start compressing. Otherwise you just get a lot of smoke and no fire. Once it starts building up, give it a few quick ones. Tap it out. You see if it smokes and see the coal there? Right, that's lighting itself. Tip your coal into a Tinder bundle. doesn't want to catch. Oh, hang on. Right, so I had a piece of bark here. Catch it. Into the fire. That's it. As long as you've got a nice dry Tinder bundle, it'll catch. That's the key. Apart from having this hole go all the way through so it can build up and compress in there until cold. And you see how quickly that can do that? It only took a few seconds and it's not hard. Just got to get it right.